We humans are a socially driven species. We're not meant to move through the world completely alone. We desire connection. We desire belonging. We desire the feeling of being understood by other people. And this is not just some sentimental idea. Our relationships with others are often one of the strongest drivers of life satisfaction, meaning, and fulfillment. Yet, strangely, many people seem to be struggling more than ever to find meaningful connection. We live in an era where we are technologically connected to almost everyone. We can message people instantly, we can join communities online, we can follow strangers across the world, and we can see what everyone is doing, thinking, buying, believing, whatever. And still, many people feel disconnected. They may have friends, but not necessarily people who truly know them. They may be surrounded by others while still feeling strangely unseen. Somewhere out there, they imagine, there must be a group of people who would finally make them feel at home. Their people. But I think part of the reason it's so hard to find your people is not because those people are impossibly rare. In reality, it is because of our relationship with ourselves. In other words, the problem is often not external, it is internal. Now, obviously, that is not completely true in every situation. Sometimes people around us really are toxic. Sometimes people are cruel, shallow, manipulative, or simply incompatible with who you are. And sometimes the room we are in genuinely is just the wrong room. I'm not denying that. But even then, this idea still matters because no matter where we go and no matter who we are around, we are always bringing ourselves into the situation. We bring our insecurities and our expectations and our assumptions we have learned from past experiences. We bring our fear of being judged and our desire to be seen in a certain way and our resentment when people do not respond to us the way that we hoped they would. And slowly, without realizing it, we begin to build these invisible walls, and then we wonder why we keep running into them. And a contradiction often appears here. A person may sincerely want connection while still protecting themselves from the vulnerability that connection requires. They may want honesty while carefully managing how they are seen. And they may want acceptance, but the version of themselves they offer to the world is still partly a performance. And this creates the problem. Because the more we try to control how others see us, the less real connection becomes possible. When we stop trying to curate the image of ourselves in the eyes of others and instead curate our own actions, something changes. The question shifts. It becomes less about whether people are responding to us correctly and more about what we are actually bringing into the interaction. Are we being open, or are we quietly testing people? Are we offering warmth, or waiting for someone else to offer it first? Are we giving people the benefit of the doubt, or interpreting every ambiguous moment as evidence against them? Whether we call it karma, psychology, social feedback, or something else, the world does seem to reflect what we put into it. Not perfectly, not always fairly, but often enough to really matter. Your subjective reality is deeply shaped by how you react to the world around you. And then, because other people are also subjective beings reacting to you, your inner world begins to affect the outer world too. Think of a normal everyday interaction. You greet someone and they hardly acknowledge you. Immediately, a story begins to form. Maybe you think that they are rude, or you assume they dislike you. You feel embarrassed. Maybe you become cold, and you decide that this person might not be worth your kindness. But maybe they were just distracted. Maybe they were tired or socially awkward. Maybe they just didn't hear you. And even if they were being rude, is that really something you need to carry with you? Is it something that deserves your peace or your attention? This is where perception matters. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Take away your opinion, and there is taken away the complaint that I have been harmed. Take away the complaint that I have been harmed, and the harm is taken away." The Stoics understood something very powerful here. The event itself is often not the whole source of our suffering. Our interpretation of the event is what gives it power. Now, this does not mean nothing bad ever happens, nor does it mean people cannot hurt us. It does not mean we should ignore real mistreatment. But it does mean that much of what we experience socially is filtered through perception. And if perception can deepen our suffering, then perception can also deepen our fulfillment. The same mechanism that makes us feel rejected can also make us feel connected. The same mind that turns ambiguity into insult can also turn ambiguity into grace. A person who walks into every room expecting judgment will experience a very different world than the person who walks into the room expecting possibility. Now, many people will say that this is all easier said than done, and they are right. Some people are more anxious by nature. Some are more guarded. Some people have been hurt or they've learned through experience not to trust others easily. And many people become fatalistic about this. They believe that they have no real power over their feelings or the world around them. They say things like, "This is just how I am. I was born this way," or "I can't change how I react." But even if our natural temperament is partly inherited, our habits of interpretation can still be trained. We may not choose every feeling that appears in us, but we can choose whether we feed it. We can choose whether we believe it. We can choose whether we build an identity around it. And over time, those choices become our character. Listen, you will encounter all kinds of people in life. Kind people, indifferent people, disappointing people. People who misunderstand you and who do not give you the warmth that you hoped for. But in almost every situation, your input helps determine the outcome. First, subjectively, inside yourself, and then objectively, in the outer world, as other people react to what you bring into the room. And this is why I think finding your people is not only about searching, it's more about becoming. You will not find your people until you become the kind of person who can truly meet them. Not perform for them, not demand fulfillment from them, not expect them to repair something inside you, but meet them honestly and openly, without needing them to become the solution to your loneliness. We all understand the folly of trying to find fulfillment in objects. We know, at least intellectually, that the next purchase, the next car, the next apartment, whatever, will not finally complete us. But there is another version of the same mistake: trying to find fulfillment in other people, expecting others to give us the sense of wholeness that we have not developed in ourselves. Expecting the right friend group, the right partner, the right audience, or the right tribe to finally make us feel complete. But people aren't objects. They're not here to fulfill us. They're not here to confirm our identity. They're not here to heal every wound we have. And when we expect them to do that, we place a weight on them that no person can carry. So the answer is not to stop needing people. That would be impossible. And frankly, that would be inhuman. Instead, the answer is to stop making other people responsible for the parts of ourselves we refuse to face. We must stop having so many expectations for them and start having deeper expectations for ourselves. The expectation should shift inward toward greater honesty, generosity, groundedness, forgiveness, and the courage to take social risks without collapsing when they don't go perfectly. And when we do that, something interesting happens. A natural filter begins to form. Some people don't respond well to that version of you, and that's okay. Others will. They will recognize something real in you because you're finally offering something real. You become easier to find because you're no longer hiding behind the image that you're trying to protect. You become easier to love because you're no longer asking others to prove your worth to you. You become easier to connect with because you're no longer treating every interaction as a test. And that is how you find your people. Not by searching the world for the rare few who can finally make you feel whole, but by becoming someone who moves through the world with enough honesty, openness, and self-respect that the right people can actually recognize you when they see you. Because the people that we're looking for are not as far away as we think. They're often just on the other side of the walls that we built ourselves. Don't you think so? All right, thanks for watching. See ya.